A beautiful night in Sydney, here it was. Controversy early. Who's the ruckman? The umpire inquired several times. Johnny Longmire's not sure. Blitzarv's got the benefit of all. There was niggle, there was push, there was prodding. There was even a bit of knick-knack, knock-knack. Call it what you want. It certainly hurt Jared McVeigh. Geelong led by a point at quarter time. Into the second quarter, Selwood, as you would expect, drags that professional free there and nails the goal. But it was 50-metre penalties that cost Sydney. Here, two of them very, very similar, resulting in Geelong goals. And at half-time, it was Geelong by 9 points in a really tight game. Then Sydney basically dominated the third quarter, except the scoreboard doesn't say that. They kicked goal after goal, 3 in a row in the opening stages here. Parker continued his brilliance. And at three-quarter time, 11-9-75 to the Cats, 10-10-70.
Attention please. Watch movie after movie, episode after episode of the world's most popular shows. Get more choice. Go to presto.com.au for a free 30-day trial.
Okay, let's get down to Cameron Ling. And Lingy, you've got an update on Mitch Duncan.
Well, I do have an update. Of course, he was subbed out in that third quarter with a sore foot. You can see him on the bench sitting there with the red vest on. He's icing up his right foot. He's on the crutches, so straight away the medical staff got him on the crutches to take the weight off that foot, but doesn't look very happy at all. I'm sure they'll take him for scans as soon as they get back to Geelong tomorrow. He hurt his foot in this bit just here, probably got twisted underneath Jared McVeigh there. He was subbed out, Sam Blease came on, but he's in such good form and looks really uncomfortable on that right foot, so not good news at all from the Geelong bench, but we don't know exactly what it is yet. We'll find that out as soon as they have those scans.
Yeah, let's hope it just twisted his foot and it's not any stress-related problem for Mitch Duncan. He's been a fantastic player this year in career best form. Sam Blease gets an opportunity. First clearance, Guthrie handed it back over his shoulder, fisted forward there by Blitzarves. Gregson attacked the footy well. Nick Smith back, the All-Australian defender from last year. I might be coming out. So
the last two quarters, the team going the way that Geelong are in this quarter has dominated the inside 50s.
Selwood almost got free. It was a McGlynn finger in the end that just put him off his kick, and now it spills out the back and an opportunity for Walker. He couldn't quite. He probably had a bit more time. So an opportunity missed there for the Cats.
Back to 4 points as Jeddah moves the ball swiftly, beautifully front and centred there by McVeigh. Just a real professional setup. And here's the racehorse, Gary Rowan. He just looks over his shoulder. Gee, that's tough. Oh, no. Shit. Oh, no.
Wow. First thought was he didn't look like he'd gone too far there.
That can't be right. Gee. They look very, very evenly distributed, those two spaces. Now an opportunity for Blease. Knocked it up to Sydney, win it back here now and open them up through the middle in McGlynn. McGlynn a little time to squirt one around the corner. The one-hander for Parker. He plays on immediately. He's got McVeigh on the run here. Needs a good sit, doesn't get it. Let's just have a look at the bounces here. There's the bounce. And there's the other bounce, and I don't see what's wrong with that.
Is it possible the umpire didn't see the first bounce? I think he actually didn't see. Look at Horst Longmire. That isn't. He missed the first bounce, I think.
He had 12 steps on in between the first and the second bounce.
I reckon they've been good tonight, but I just think that one is really tough.
Yeah, just a mistake. I agree that the umpire's done a great job tonight, but well, that has to be a mistake. There's no
he would have kept going there, Rowan, too, Dust.
He was out, wasn't he?
Had space in front of him.
Second bounce set up perfectly. He was going to pin the ears back. So a little let off there for the Cats. Here's Franklin in space. Capable from there. He made pretty good connection with it across the goal square, and Rivers went back to the flight, read it really nicely. Taylor under pressure. It's a beautiful kick. Look at that. Perfectly weighted for Jed Hughes. As mentioned earlier, Jed Hughes, he's played on Ballantyne, he's played on Rioli, gets a lot of big jobs. Half forward now. Kirsten, it's a good strong tackle. Out the back, McVeigh wants it. Little toe poker. Selwood stretched his arms up. McGlynn, full-chested. McVeigh, high-quality game this one. The tackle pressure, look at the effort. Everything's under duress as The kick comes forward from Lloyd. Tipper did really well. He burst the pack open. Parker's had an enormous game. He's kicked 4 goals. Handball in the direction of Kennedy. Please, the sub. First game for the Cats. He did pretty well. And they'll be happy if that one slides over for a boundary throw, although he might be able to get back to Jetta, and he does.
And he does, yes. Tidies it up, and now back inside to McVeigh. It'll go to Jetta. Probably should have in the end. McVeigh turned the wrong way, went boundary and had nothing on. Now it's up to Grundy. Sold some foot candy beautifully. Driving footy, up they fly. Winner in the air is Parker. The Guess Who man of the night. He's doing it everywhere and every time. And he's kicked 4. And this for a career high 5 goals. And a timely goal it would be.
He's a good mark. He's a really good mark for an on-ball player.
Really trying to find his composure there, and he loves that spot, doesn't he? Have a look at it. That's where he is. 3 straight from the set shots from this position. Kick on the way is just not going to work for him. Although Buddy just stood there and marked it on the chest. Tom Lonigan can't believe it.
Buddy just trying to con 3 or 4 metres there, BT. The umpire will wake up to that.
Look at Tom Lonigan shaking his head in disbelief and creeping a metre or 2 over the mark as the umpire was looking the other way. Oh, you're an old pro, Tom. Now, Buddy, don't worry about those guys on the left. Just line up for your normal set shot.
I think he's thinking about running around him, wanting to snap it.
So Franklin, look at Stevie J pointing it out. Says he can't go on the arc, but Buddy nails the goal. Sydney by 10 points.
Well, Buddy kicked 3 goals, 5 tonight. Not sure how he marked that one. Tommy Lonigan couldn't believe it either. I don't think Lonigan thought it was going to get over the initial pack. And he's just marked it on his chest. We'll have a look at that in a second. And they're all a little bit bemused by that mark, but that gives the Swans a handy little break again. So here we go. There's the long mongrel in, and those ones there, Buddy nearly tripped over to start with, and it's just fallen into his arms. That's why Lonigan couldn't believe it.
3 goals to Franklin. Pike took it out of clean air and hacked it forward. Reid trying to find a way through, dropped the footy in and under as Mitchell. No surprise about that, Pike. That was a clever little handball back to Lloyd. It's in good hands here with Jenner. He wants his mate Franklin. Lonigan did really well to take front position. Beautiful front and centre for McGlynn. And he's got down low. Hughes took him high. And little Benny McGlynn played it really well. He'll go back and chance to kick 2 in a row for the Swans.
You called it, Das. Perfect front and centre. He had the perfect position there, and Franklin, who was out of position, did what he has to do. If he's not going to mark it, Buddy, he must bring that down, and he did. And McGlynn hit that with pace, and then very hard to not give a free kick away there.
He's a consistent goal kicker, this man. He scored 20+ goals in each of the past 5 seasons. That one
Easy.
just didn't look good at any stage, did it, Bristol?
No, he just looked really lazy on that, Das. He didn't get through it with a lot of punch and aggression. Just leaned back on it. Would have been the biggest lead of the game. Now Geelong are under enormous pressure as they can possibly turn it over here. Stevie J under pressure, and the boundary line is a good result for Geelong in the end to get out of that, and it's also a good result for Sydney. They're up and about at the moment, Sydney.
I hate to say it again, but that's another clanger handball. Have a look at this. This is a star of the game, Corey Enright. It's a skill that is going by the wayside.
I've got to agree with you on that one. He doesn't make that mistake very often.
Hanbury centering ball. Opportunity views out the back.
I'm onto something.
Stokes. Was it deliberate? Umpire makes the call and says no. He was slung in the tackle and he got rid of it. Didn't matter in which direction. And here's the tackle. Good. Perhaps with the replay, it looked a little more obvious. All falls short from the boundary umpire then. Didn't get to the ruckman. Gee, Mitchell almost threw it out the back door now. Gives it to McVeigh. That's bending the right way. That's a goal. I think it's gone over the line. He touched it after the line, I reckon. Let's have a listen.
I believe the ball is a goal. I want to confirm that it wasn't touched before the line.
Score review. Umpire's call is a goal. Please check it wasn't touched.
And I want to say to that umpire, you've got it right, young man. Don't doubt yourself. Hard to tell from that one. But it's easy to tell from that one. This will be a goal. All clear. Beautiful spinning ball from McVeigh.
Well, it's going to be tough now for the Cats, but we know they can do it. They're a great team. That is such a hard kick from that man there, Jared McVeigh, in his 250th game. To get, firstly, to get the distance on a ball from that far out, but then to get it spinning correctly and through. Degree of difficulty very high there. Fantastic goal.
174 career goals, and that one of his finest. High degree of skill to bend it around with that sort of pressure. He knew it was home, Jared McVeigh. Biggest lead of the match this now, 17 points. The Cats simply have to kick the next goal. Caddy.
Hi, Caddy. Hi. Stay there, Tom.
So Reece Stanley wants it out wide. Caddy decides that long and straight is the order of the day. Nick Smith said himself, well taken there by Murdoch. Tumbling, floating, helicopter-style kick to the pocket. Kept in by Kirsten. Stevie J. Wanted the miracle goal, Stevie. Oh, and there might have been a little bit going on. He loves the niggle, Stevie, doesn't he? He just can't help himself.
Guys, just quickly, Sydney have made their sub. Dean Towers, the man who's just about to mark the footy, comes onto the ground. Jake Lloyd is the bloke who's been subbed off.
Okay, Lloyd off. Towers on. Towers with the footy to Smith. Plenty of time here for the Cats, but they can't afford, as Dar said, to concede the next one. Now, Goods has got space here. This next kick from Kennedy still in space. He's at half forward. Gee, the kick's close to the line. Goods now able to work it forward. Beautiful kick to Reid on the lead. But he goes back. He says, come on, give it in long, give it in long. Reid goes there now. Buddy backing up. Now he can come at the footy. Off hands, Franklin, pirouette, left foot snapper. He's a star. What about that? The big man. He can do it all. He's kicked four tonight.
What a great goal. But it was really well worked by the Sydney Swans. They brought it around the boundary line. They had an overlap of loose players right around this boundary line. Precise pinpoint play. And then get it into Franklin. I thought the ball could have been released a little bit earlier by Reid. Franklin had space out the back. Didn't need it, though. He got the job done.
We had Buddy Cam on this one. Just trained in on one of the absolute greats of the game, and this is a great look at what he does. He wanted it long, Lonergan knew he was in a bad position. What about the spin to get around Stevie Motlop? And you'd almost back him 10 times out of 10 in that situation. Great goal. They have to get moving now. It was well played from Selwood. Stanley's pushed forward. Did well, Tippett. Maybe should have come with the footy a bit sooner, Stanley. In the meantime, Adam Goods presents up, and Sydney crowd here. It's a decent crowd in Saturday night footy at ANZ Stadium, and they are sensing that their side is in pretty good shape here at the moment. Game high 23-point margin.
Well, they've just been able to win the crucial contest more in this second half, the Swans.
Gregson had a little opportunity, but couldn't quite make up the ground, and Reece Shaw now is going to take a little bit of time here.
Shaw just goes backwards, and I just want you to contemplate this for a moment, Jars. If Buddy kicks one more goal, he's halfway to where Tony Lockett finished.
Halfway.
Just halfway. He's such a great player, but how good was Plugger? Halfway to Plugger. If he were to kick one more, Kennedy shrugs the tackle. Round the corner, here he is. Gets down, used the front end as the bulldozer. Still got the handball away to Rowan. Back to Rowan here from Tippett it was. He's going backwards, losing ground. Well done, Geelong. Caddy's involved. They've got to go. It's all or nothing now for the Cats. But Jenner responds, puts on the afterburners, a bounce and belts the footy, but misses right. And Tippett a little slow getting up.
How good is it to have players like that in your team? The Swans have got two, Jetta and Rowan, guys that can just put the ball under the arm and just burst clear out of traffic. It's such an important weapon to have in your team.
But Sarves did really well in the one-on-one there with Kennedy, and they sensing the urgency. Here's Sam Blease. He's got great leg speed. He worked his way through the corridor. Walker. Tippett's having the time in the ruck. Darcy Lang, Motlop. Decided a quick boot to ball was the option. Nick Smith went back with courage. Stanley upended him. Laidler fed a little handball to Grundy. And they are right on top at the moment here, Sydney Shaw. He's looking in the corridor, then decided against it. Hanbury, he gets smashed from behind, Enright. Enough on the spoil to end it over for boundary throwing. He's going to have enough time, buddy. He's got about 8 more years left on this contract. If he stays sound, he's got enough.
He's got time on the contract.
He's got the opportunity there. But that is interesting, isn't it? Halfway to the great Tony Lockett. Murdoch wanted to defend on Kieran Jack. Not many get through the Kieran Jack tackle. Well played, Grundy.
Breaking point here for Geelong. If Sydney to have scored another one, she's all over, I reckon. And you get the feeling for the Cats as well that that's exactly the way they're playing. They've got enough, but they must kick the next one. Here's an opportunity for Walker. Backed out of the pack. Blease has got to go. McVeigh, the 250 gamer, put his nose over the footy and won a hard one. And now an opportunity for Parker. Beautiful kick and a downfield ball to Kennedy. Kennedy backs up, thinks about the little sideways one. But he's wanting it in the space. He's pointing to the space. And that's exactly where it went. Need to get the jukes out, buddy. Don't like telling you too much because you're an absolute superstar. But get the jukes out in front. And we'll throw it in. In fact, a free kick going Geelong's way here in defence.
How good is Lonigan, though, just getting a fist in there at those balls? Franklin tried to take it on his chest, but Lonigan, he's always there. He's a great defender.
I reckon Tom Lonigan would have been watching last week. He would have seen it would have been embarrassing for Buddy to kick goals. You don't want him goalless the week before you play.
Tell you what, they won't be putting donuts in his locker this week. It'll be cold nuggets.
He was always going to respond. Having said that, he was still pretty solid last week. So now it's really through the corridor stuff from the Cats. They know the next goal has to be theirs. Motlop, and he's pulled the trigger. Missed his mate Stevie J, and Nick Smith couldn't believe his luck. Through the corridor, this is Ben McGlynn. Wide Kennedy, Selwood looks around and says, who's coming at me? And now they've just lost concentration here, the Cats defence. Hanbury, he's got McVeigh short. Game 250, well done, Caddy. Did really well to Selwood. Guthrie, Stevie J wants it. He should have given it, Cam Guthrie. McGlynn wrapped him up, play on's the call. Hanbury, Reid on his own. Can Taylor get there? He did pretty well, Harry Taylor. Picked up by Goods, over the top, Towers the sub. He's quick too, back to Goods. Sweeping handball into the corridor. Gary Rowan, he gets booked the ball. He'll kick the goal. That's just about the game. 30-point margin.
Yeah, they're swarming now. They're all over the Cats. It's out to a 5-goal lead. Gary Rowan hits the scoreboard, and they've had plenty of goal kickers tonight, and that's such a key. But 9 goal kickers, 4 to Parker and 4 to Franklin. That's a pretty big spread, and that's hard to stop. He did do well here, Harry Taylor, but they just had too many numbers. Got more numbers at the contest. And handball on the left from Goodsey. Didn't hit the target perfectly, but got the job done.
No, you don't listen to me a lot, Richo, but I did say at the start of the game, if Sydney score more than 100 here, they were 15 of 15. Well, guess what? They've scored 101, and they're going to be 16 of 16, Richo. I want you to listen next time and react.
Oh, I liked it. I did like your numbers that you did, Brian. You worked hard on those during the week. And you're right, you're spot on. They're going to win the number 16 in a row.
And you're pretty happy with yourself.
Well, Hughes with the sore arm on. I have got a smile on the dial. There's Guthrie, boy out of the Calder Cannons Footy Factory with Tidy and the boys down there. And Laidler who is out there as well for Sydney. He is also from the Cannons TAC Cup team. Here's Blees, the activated sub tonight. He's kicked that really wide, and that'll be touched over the line. So 8 minutes to go. Sydney by 30. Let's see what happened to Buse. Got the kick in the hand from Tippett.
See how kicking in danger.
Yep. Boundary throw in deep here for Geelong. Blitzar's trying to get it out the back to give them some space in that dangerous corridor. He went and got his own footy here. We had another nomination for the player that best suits the way that Blitzar's plays and plays all positions. And Jared Ruffhead, of course, is the modern-day version of Mark Blitzar's.
Yeah, it's a very good call. Whoever
play everywhere.
Sent that one through. He can play every position on the ground. Big rough, can't he? He's had a massive day today, Big Rough. Had 30 possessions, kicked 4 goals in their big win over Melbourne. It's a fair day out.
Yeah, he can do anything, Ruffy. Unbelievable player. So he's probably got Blitzar's covered at this stage, but that's the type of player we're talking about, who can go anywhere.
Just done some maths as well. As it currently stands, if Buddy scores 9 goals 7 per game for the next 70 games, he'll join Plugger on the identical number of games and goals. 9 goals 7. So it gives you a fair idea of how good the legend was.
So that's not going to happen. Plugger was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a record that you think might stand for a long, long time. The
did have
Tony Lockett
did have a bit more space in 50s, to be fair.
Yep.
Back in the 80s, Brian, you know that.
Yep. Slightly different style of game too, wasn't it? It was generally just kick it long, kick it to a contest, and kick it to Plugger. And
well, he still had to mark it, and he was playing against some of the greatest fullbacks of all time.
Yes. No, we're not diminishing that at all.
Jack out the back door to Rampy. Rampy with a little up and under ball. I think you are diminishing it. Here's
This bloke here, Luke Parker, he just continues to amaze me. He is one of the best young players, but best players in the competition at the moment. He marks the footy, he finds the footy in the midfield, and of course he kicks a heap of goals too. He's kicked the 4 tonight. He's a gun.
What about the numbers? You mentioned the 4 goals, 27 possessions, 642 metres gained for Luke Parker on the night.
He's taken 9 marks as well.
So he said he's a complete player, and the courage, you just can't believe what he's done in terms of backing back with a fly to the footy tonight, Luke Parker.
It's just been a weight of numbers tonight across the board. It's gradually worn the Cats down in the second half. They're spread through the middle. Kennedy, Hanbury, Mitchell, Parker, McVeigh. They've all had, upwards of 25 disposals. Just an even spread through the midfield.
I don't think Geelong's lost any fans tonight. Certainly not me. I think he tried to take on the tackle there, Matty Stokes, and that was Parker who does it all, and he wants to rub a bit of Matty Stokes' nose in it.
Okay, Matthew. Okay, let's go now. Daniel, stay out of it. Oh.
So the Swans just flexing a bit of muscle here late. They know this game's in hand, and Luke Parker would have a nice feeling about his contribution. Long ball in, Tippett stuck a boot out, trying to fend off a play. You got to remember, Mitch Duncan was probably their best player on the ground. We saw him go off with a nasty foot injury. Comes back to Nick Smith. They lost Tom Hawkins late as well, so they played with a bit of restriction. Here is Parker. He deserves a bag of 5 tonight. Go back and kick it. He's unselfish. He's still having a look around, but it'd be a worthy return.
Yeah.
Well, the man on screen that Cameron Ling has just been talking about, he's the best and fairest winner from last year.
Deserves 5.
Set shot goal kicking has been very nice as well. There it is. 5 goals for Parker. No. Thurlow got...
I believe the ball is touched. Yep. Can we just confirm it had not crossed the line?
Please check the ball wasn't over the line.
He's in
Score
perfect
review
position.
underway.
That goal umpire. Have a look at the position he's got on the left there. He's done well. He's called it well tonight, that umpire.
Very rarely see these overturned. Once the umpire makes a call, but that angle's not going to help us.
So get rid of that one, boys. Move on.
Score review complete. Umpire's call.
Touch.
So no goal to Luke Parker. little disappointed. Career high was on the offering there.
Well, you couldn't possibly overrule those ones unless you've got a camera right on the goal line, and we don't have that at every ground.
Jack to Hanbury. Hanbury looking to go inside. McGlynn got down and collected it with beautiful, clean hands. Opportunity for Goods, bundling it out. You get the feeling that Goods really playing for his life out there. He's doing everything, and I've got to say, he's still doing everything for the team, and nothing's been about him. It's all been for the team as Mitchell marks. 4 1/4 minutes remaining. How have you seen, Richo, Adam Goods' game tonight and this year generally?
I think he's doing the job required of him tonight inside forward 50. He's played mostly down there all night, and he's had a dozen touches. He's kicked a goal and he gave a couple away, so that's a solid night if you're down in amongst that forward 6.
Mitchell's first goal of the year right there. 37 points.
We're really pulling away now, the Swans. Just go on about the depth they have through the midfield. They've now got 4 players over 30 possessions. Tom Mitchell just joined Parker, Hanbury and Kennedy.
I think I said his first goal, in fact his second goal, Richard.
So Kennedy's kicked a goal, Mitchell's kicked 2, McVeigh's kicked a goal, Jack's kicked a goal.
So 2 goals for Mitchell there. You can see the crowd probably around the 28,000-29,000 mark, I would have thought, here tonight. Sydney games ahead coming up. Hawthorn, Carlton, Gold Coast and North, all in the next month before they lead up to the bye in round 12. Hawthorn, Carlton, Gold Coast and North. That's for Sydney over the next month.
Kieran, a metre.
Yeah, they've really put the foot down in the second half. 8-1-4 the Swans have scored the second half so far as Stokes.
And tonight, Das, it's been just as rock solid a professional a performance as you could hope for from Sydney. They were challenged early, Geelong, very good in the first half, but they responded in the way that Sydney do so well. They kept playing the same strong, tough, defensive pressure footy, but they were also prepared to take the game on, move it forward really quickly, give their forwards a chance, and their second half has been outstanding. They've blown Geelong away now in the contested possession.
I reckon Lingy, it started last week against Melbourne. They had a back-to-basics game.
They did.
Righto, we're just going to play this on its merits.
Yep.
Back to basics and now starting to surge forward in this game here tonight.
And in the end, winning contested ball tonight by 21, which is a dominant display. It was even at half-time. That's how good they've been.
Yeah, it's when Kennedy, Hanbury, Parker, Mitchell, and there is Hanbury, really got on top. This is Towers, starting sub. Tom Mitchell, he's got a free man. And it's really a bit of a procession now. This will be 5. This will be career high for Luke Parker. What a game from that man.
What a game, all right. If you can have 30 and 5, I think you've had a good night, haven't you?
Fairly solid day's work, Richo, man.
That's outstanding. He reads the play so well. I watched the build-up to that play, and he just knows how to find space out the back. So he's a natural type forward as well. But he just racks up the numbers.
So they're the matches to come for the respective teams and coaches there. Geelong, Carlton, West Coast, Essendon and Port Adelaide, possibly the slightly easier month ahead, although West Coast in some good form. Port, Essendon, tough for them.
Now they've got a trip to Perth coming up. The Cats, they then go to Adelaide Oval to play Port Adelaide. Then after the bye, they go back and they play the Adelaide Crows. So had a pretty challenging few weeks coming up, the Cats.
Looking forward to next Saturday night, Hawthorn and Sydney.
Saturday night footy.
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah. Continues, Richo.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Rampy off the back, as you say. And good tackle by Gregson. And he will get a look for goal. He's been solid tonight in the last 2 minutes here. It's Gregson. Good tackle. And so 43-point margin. Started this 3 minutes into this last quarter. It was a 9-point ball game or somewhere thereabouts. Now it's 43. Gregson for Geelong kicks the goal, and it's back to 37.
Well, he's kicked 2 goals tonight to go with his 3 last week. That's great for a young player. So he's found a little bit of consistency already in his game. And the smile there, life's pretty good. First year of AFL footy.
It's one of your great skills, BT. About the second quarter, I said, how many here tonight? You said about 28,000. You're 63 off tonight.
Yes, I'm a little disappointed. I got within 37 last night. So that's pretty good, I would have thought.
It's a slight margin for error there.
Someone will find out one day just how it happened.
How does he do it? He's got something up his sleeve.
Thank you.
Look, I'd watch his phone about the 20-minute mark of the last quarter, Darcy. He always gets a little nibble coming through from the ground manager, I think.
A minute 17 remaining here. Been a very impressive performance from one of the premiership favourites, top 4 favourites of the year, Sydney. They've done it in a really nice style. Working the angles there, the lovely run, cutting run by Reece Shaw. Now Hanbury goes for a low bullet into Jack. Beautiful pick up on the half volley. Over to Mitchell, back on the left foot. Booming ball to Reed, and he shepherds it through. I don't think it was touched. Well done, Reed, on the shepherd. Mitchell goal. Third goal for Mitchell there. And nicely done by Sam Reed on the line.
So there's the big tackle here from Mike Pike.
Ragdoll him.
He didn't want to let it go, Stevie J. It's come out in the end. Tommy Mitchell's kicked 3 now.
Yeah.
He's had some sort of night as well.
Had 32 possessions to go with it.
Some teams are just crying out for mids who can kick goals. And they got plenty of goals out of their mids tonight, the Swans.
And 5 out of Parkin, 3 out of Mitchell. Kennedy kicked the goal as a mid, and
Kieran Jack kicked the goal. McVeigh.
11 players for Sydney over 20 touches.
But a pretty powerful display from the grand finalists last year. A little bit high on Stevie J. Nothing doing free kick wise. Here's Laidley, be desperate to just cement himself a permanent spot in this side. He played 19 games last year and missed out on the finals action. Split halves. Did well to stand up the tackle to Stokes. Back with a flight, Grundy, and he's been paid the mark.
He's had a good night too. Heath Grundy, centre-half back, really solid. Intercept marked and got plenty of the ball.
So Sydney, the siren will sound, and win number 5 for them. They are 5-2. Jared McVeigh caps off game 250 in fine style by 43 points. Let's get down to Cameron Ling.
Well, I've got the man here, Luke Parker, 31 possessions, 5 goals, career best, and an amazing 750 metres game. Now, I don't want any modesty here. You must be happy with your game there.
Yeah, it was pretty happy. I guess it was the first start of the year. I've probably been playing a half or 3 quarters and dropping off and coming in and out of games. So I was happy to get a full 4-quarter effort, but that was the thing. Coming into this game, the boys, we wanted that 4-quarter effort, and we brought that. We know they were super hard at the start, and their run and carry and skills were outstanding, and we wanted to get those turnovers, and we knew it would come in the end.
It was a genuine 4-quarter effort, wasn't it? Because Geelong were good in the first half, still within reach at 3-quarter time, but you guys just put the foot down and eventually dominated them around the ball and on the scoreboard.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was the main thing. We wanted to play to our trademark and play the full 4 quarters and not drop off in any quarter. So we've been starting slow, but the main thing was we stuck it with him in the first half, and we know the first part of the year we've been finishing well, so we kept the foot down and a good win.
Mate, you're absolutely sensational tonight. Enjoy every minute of it. Well done.
Cheers, mate.
What a game Luke Parker played, and getting some great respect from Cameron Ling. Just one of the games of the year. Simply, he's played 5 goals. We can't stop talking about his numbers. 31 possessions, 748 metres gained, 5 tackles. It's just about the complete game, isn't it, for a midfielder?
Yeah, it is. He had some clearances as well, put the ball inside 50, so 5 goals and put the ball inside 56 times as well. So majority of his play is coming forward of centre, and that's where you want the damage to be done. That is an outstanding game.
He's got the eyes on Ling. He's working his way through the Swans players, and I think he's got Buddy Franklin with him.
I do have amongst the boys here. Just a really good game, wasn't it? Geelong threw everything at you, but you guys weathered the storm and then went whack back.
Yeah, it was a super contest. We knew we had to play those 4 quarters. It was a tough contest for that 3 quarters, and then we worked our way into it in the last, and we were able to open it up and able to run and then kick out goals, which is really important.
We spoke with the coach, John Longmire, at half-time. He said he wanted you guys to get the ball in forward more and quicker. It certainly helped you guys in the forward line, didn't it? Gave you greater opportunities once it was in there?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're able to get it inside 50 as quick as possible, it gives the forwards an opportunity to kick a score. So we're able to do that probably in the second half. Not so much in the first half, which is a little bit disappointing, but we come away with a win and look forward to next week.
Just tell the boys no more donuts in the locker now after that one.
No more, mate. No dramas.
Well done tonight, mate. Great job.
Well done to Buddy.
Bag of 4 for Buddy, and the Swans, weren't they fantastic in the second half? Just too strong for Geelong. Another big day of footy here on Saturday Live. We're going to wrap it all up coming up. Let's have a look at some of those numbers. The big boys flexed their muscles, didn't they, today with some big wins at the MCG. Hawthorn way too good for Melbourne, a win of over 100 points, the biggest win of the season. That could be challenged by the West Coast Eagles there. As you can see, almost 100 points up over the Gold Coast, that game continuing in the final term. Sydney too good, as we mentioned, for the Cats in the second half. Carlton and GWS, there's going to be plenty of fallout from that game. We'll hear from Mick Malthouse shortly. GWS a couple in a row. They're going for 3 in a row next week. And Adelaide in a match which was marred by some terrible injuries. In fact, the whole round's a big toll of injuries, and we'll wrap all that up coming up soon. Stay with us here on Saturday Live. We'll also look ahead to tomorrow. There's plenty more footy coming your way on Fox Footy. Starting at Etihad, the first up game is between the all-conquering Fremantle Dockers and the much-improved Western Bulldogs. And what about this game? 3 o'clock at the MCG. It's Richmond and it's Collingwood. The Pies smarting after a loss last week. The Tigers desperately need a win. And then it all finishes with Justin Lepich versus Ken Hinkley. Port Adelaide versus Brisbane from the Gabba. Make sure you stay with us. So some exhausted boys after a terrific Saturday night at ANZ Stadium. In the end, the Sydney Swans too good. Jared McVeigh's big game, his 250th, celebrated with a win. They had consistent performers all through the game. Their midfield right back on top, and in the end, too strong in that area. They dominated in the contest, winning that area by 20 over the Cats, 142-120. So it's 5 wins and 2 losses now for the Sydney Swans, and they're right up there towards the top of the ladder. They're all chasing Fremantle, of course. But as I mentioned, the big boys really starting to flex their muscles today. And Geelong were very good for a fair bit of the game. Certainly the first half, they had a lead at half-time of 9 points after a tight first term. But the Sydney Swans just turned the screws in the third quarter, and their class around the contest, their strength around the clearances, too good. Buddy and Luke Parker played a game and a half. What a performance from Luke Parker. They had 61 inside 50s to 48, the Swans. 106 more disposals in total. As I said, 5 goals won and 31 for Luke Parker. Dan Hanbury had 35 disposals, and he had more than 30 for the 4th time this year. And Tom Mitchell, his own personal best, 33 disposals. As we go to the highlights, as we said, game number 250 for one of the most popular players with the Sydney Swans, their co-captain Jared McVeigh, and he had an excellent night in the end. Good struggle early. Franklin gets a set shot away in the first quarter. There was a bit of niggle. Stevie J was usually somewhere around it, and they were trying to get into Buddy Franklin, of course, coming off a goalless game. But Buddy and Tom Lonergan had a really good battle. Buddy inaccurate in front of goal. The Cats were able to move the ball well on occasions. This man, Stevie Motlop, was dangerous. He kicked 2 goals in the first half. And as I said, they had the lead at half-time, but that all changed in the third term. The pressure really cranked up from the Swans, and the Cats found it hard to move the ball out of defence. And gradually the Swans just got on top. This man was pivotal, as we said. 5 goals, an incredible performance from Luke Parker. As he said himself, he hasn't necessarily dominated through the first month or so of play. The Cats kept in it. Stevie J was able to get the odd goal or two and pop up and just tease a little bit that maybe they were still in it, but really all the numbers suggested I think it was 17 inside 50s to 8 in the third quarter. They lost Mitch Duncan, who'd been one of the best players on the ground, 17 disposals in just over a half of footy. He's got what could be a serious foot injury as the injury toll mounts. And in the end, the Swans were all over the Cats. McVeigh with that lovely curling goal. There's a couple of nice little goals that could have gone either way. Here's a lovely snap from Buddy. And as I said, 4 goals, 5 for the night for Buddy Franklin, and a big win of over 40 points for the Sydney Swans. More to come from Sydney as we continue on and wrap up the round. But now let's turn our attention to what happened in Adelaide today. And after a slow start, the Adelaide Crows really got things going. And that was due to Eddie Betts, who was sensationally kicked 6 goals, took a great mark as well. They're also 5-2. And a decisive 46-point win. This game, as I mentioned, was marred by serious injuries. The Saints actually had 4 more inside 50s for the day, but they were smashed around the contest. They dominated in the clearance. Scotty Thompson, 35 touches. Patrick Dangerfield laid 10 tackles to go with his 24 disposals. Eddie Betts, 6 goals, 2, 5 tackles, 17 disposals. While Josh Bruce continued his amazing goal-kicking form with 5 goals, 1. Let's have a look at the highlights then. And as I said, the Saints were actually out of the blocks early. They were really good. They kicked the first 3 goals. Tom Hickey's been in some OK form. He put one through early, but Eddie Betts was the man that got them kick-started, or jump-started, as you can see with that leap there. And he was able to get the set shot after taking a big mark over Dempster and pop this one through for a goal. It was the first of 6. This then was really part of an upsetting day from the injury front. Sickening clash between Nick Riewoldt, straight to hospital for scans. He just had the 5 possessions before he was cleaned up. Brodie Smith with 4 disposals. That's his second concussion for the day. He was helped from the ground. We'll have more on Nick Riewoldt in a moment as we continue, more injury problems with Matty Jensch. Sadly, what looks like a serious injury, a possible ACL for the Crows defender. So a tough day, a tough break for them to handle. But Eddie Betts, this is his 5th goal, charging through the pack. Taylor Walker also helped out up forward and was involved in quite a few of the goals. Here's Josh Bruce, the shining light for the Saints up forward. 12 more marks for Josh Bruce and 5 goals, 1. And Eddie Betts then, as I said, with some help from Taylor Walker, kicking his 6th goal, and he's on top of the Coleman, and he's having a sensational year. Just to rub salt into the wound, of course, of Carlton supporters. Well, let's hear from the coaches. Phil Walsh, happy enough to be 5-2, and Alan Richardson had to really contend with some bad injuries, with 2 players pulling out in the warm-up.
When you're an inexperienced group and you lose Riewoldt, Montagna and Geary, leaders, that's pretty significant. The reality is, though, that it was not. They would have helped. There's no doubt about that. We won't pretend that's not the case, but. It was our inability to be able to handle the Crows' pressure. They just beat us in the contest way too often.
Riewoldt's down.
He'll stay in hospital overnight, just for observation purposes. But my understanding is that he's been cleared of any structural damage, fractures. They're looking at him from a concussion point of view, and but he's up. He's cracking jokes with a couple of the staff. He's feeling okay, but he does need to stay in for the night.
I thought there was some exciting footy played. I thought they were really good early. St Kilda, they came over here with a plan. They challenged us in the areas of the game, that I like to win. Then I thought, in the second quarter, we got control of the game, and then probably the last 6 minutes of the second quarter I was really disappointed. I thought our inability to move the ball out of our back line was poor. Then I thought the third quarter was a really strong quarter again. They missed shots at goal though, and I was really happy that we ended up winning the last quarter, but it looked a little bit like both teams were worn out.
He's a demanding coach, but he's getting results for the Adelaide Crows at the moment. All right, plenty more to come. All the other games, all the highlights coming up, and more reaction from the coaches. The Sydney Swans celebrating their 43-point win over Geelong.
Cheer, cheer the red and the white. Honour the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high. Shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or be small, Swans will go in and win overall. While the loyal sons are marching onwards to victory.